Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because the time has arrived. An annual tradition is here yet again where we do, of course, our own sim of the NHL postseason. Of course, a little bit of a different twist on it because we have my custom rosters to work with. And this year I wanted to wait until at least one game was done per series. That way, for sure, I know that the lines are good to go. So before we get into simming this in playoff mode, which is going to take a while, I want to show you guys a look at the lines for every team, as well as the overall ratings for said team. Now, thing to keep in mind with these lineups is that you are looking at what daily face-off had for each and every one of these 16 teams as of August 12th. So if it's out of date, if something's wrong, don't blame me. Blame Elite Prospects. And of course, you're going to probably see some overalls that you disagree with. And you know what? Again, that's all well and good. Because again, as I mentioned, anytime I bring up the fact that I'm using my custom rosters, I use a method and a formula that some of you might not agree with. I look at the 3 prior seasons, so obviously this season and the last 2 to factor an overall rating. So you won't often see someone extremely highly rated if they spent time in the AHL within the past 2 seasons. It's like, okay, if someone's having a slow progression, that's what you have to look at. You have to look at what's gone down for them in the past few seasons as opposed to just like, oh, well, this year they were really good. And it's like, okay, cool, but how much does that really say, So that is my argument there. Of course, you can find a link to the editing doc where it's well over 200 pages at this point. But you can find a link to the editing doc in the description. It goes over everything that I happen to do, from overall changes to the players that I've added in, to why overalls and potentials are the way that they are, to literally everything you could possibly think of. And of course, it's a year-long process as well, so you got to factor that in. But I'm excited to see what happens here because I think this has the potential to be absolutely ridiculous in terms of how this plays out and, kind of the upsets that we might see. A good example, by the way, of overalls would be Dominic Kubalik. But an 81 overall on my roster is actually pretty good. So, but I'm intrigued to see. We're on Chicago right now. I'm intrigued to see what a Chicago team can do according to this sim. I'm intrigued to see what this Colorado team can do according to this sim. And of course, we're just kind of breezing through these. If you guys really want to take a look at what the rosters happen to be, then you can pause the video on your own time. It's going to be a longer video. You probably already know that. So there is a lot to get to. What is this Columbus team going to be able to do? And how much better, no offense, I hate to bring it up, but how much better would the Toronto Maple Leafs have fared against Tampa is the question. And yes, Joonas Korpisalo has already raised his stock this postseason, needless to say. But the thing to keep in mind here about this sim as well, injuries are off, so at the very least, the AI shouldn't change around the lines. They're likely to not, but at the very least, the personnel will remain the same. The AI can't change it, so there's no call-ups and send-downs within playoff mode. Controversially, Anton Khudobin listed as the starter over Ben Bishop, so not sure what's going to happen there, but hey, we needed to set the guidelines, and we have, so perhaps a real controversial call there with Ben Bishop not being the starting goaltender. Montreal, of course, an interesting team. Belzile in on the 4th line. Of course, that defense is what it is. Carey Price making one of the best saves of all time yesterday in a losing effort to the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll see what he is able to do in this sim for the Habs. New York Islanders out of nowhere. Again, like I said, I waited until at least one game was played. The New York Islanders, what a team they are. What a comeback effort that was against the Washington Capitals. Incredibly impressed with what they were able to do. You have this Philadelphia team, which, speaking of impressive, Scott Laughton having the postseason kind of sort of already of his life. It's amazing. And of course, Carter Hart A lot of people are going to be, how is he only an 80? Again, steady growth for Carter Hart within the past 3 seasons for me on NHL. And obviously, you look at what Carter Hart is going to be by this time next year, when Philly's likely back in the playoffs, or, a couple months earlier, let's say 10 months from now, really less than that, 8 months in next April. I don't know why I look at Pittsburgh. Whoops, that's right, Pittsburgh didn't make it. But, like what this Philly team is going to look like once you get to that point, next April, what Carter Hart is going to look like at that point in time. We'll see what happens. Jordan Binnington rocking an 81 overall. Alex Steen, a last-second removal from this line. So, interesting stuff there. Tampa, no Steven Stamkos, which is a huge loss for them. Mitch Stevens in on the 4th line for them in their first game against Columbus. 5 goddamn overtimes. Still one of the craziest things I've ever seen, just a few minutes away from being the longest game of the modern era, as insane as that is. And of course, for the Vancouver Canucks, no Tyler Toffoli. Pretty big loss for this team, but still a pretty solid roster. Olli Levy in on that 3rd pairing, and of course, Markstrom is the goaltender, healthy for them, so this could be a very interesting sim for the Canucks. The Vegas Golden Knights, Max Pacioretty was day-to-day, but ultimately on the site, he is listed as still being their top-line winger, so they don't lose him. But a 73 overall defenseman in White Cloud, Robin Lehner, is their guy. So I'm intrigued. There's some people who believe that certain players sim in a positive or negative way within franchise mode. I'll leave that up to you and your opinion on that, but most people seem to think that Lehner sims a little bit better, at least a little bit more consistently than Fleury, so we'll see what happens. And of course, for Washington, very close to not having John Carlson for this video, Braden Holtby is their goaltender. So, interesting stuff with the rosters right now. Of course, again, that gets you a look at the line combinations in terms of the team overalls. You have the Arizona Coyotes, 87, 89, and an 80. Boston, 90, 87, and an 88. Calgary, 86, 90, and an 80. Carolina, the exact same thing. Chicago at an 88, 85, and an 81. Colorado, a 90, 88, and a 79. CBJ, of course, that goaltending is dragged down significantly by Kivlenieks, but 84 and 86 for offense and defense. Dallas, 85, 86, 86. From there, we have Montreal, 84, 86, and a 75. The Islanders, 87, 88, 82. And Philadelphia, 87, 88, 79. St. Louis, 86, 90, 82. Tampa, is insane, 88, 91, and an 84. Vancouver, 85, 86, 81. Vegas, 87, 86, 88. And Washington, 91, 89, and a 71. So, Washington, definitely a favorite in this sim. As we're ready to jump into it, let's get down to business. The madness begins. Let's see how this goes. We are going to sim every single playoff game, and we kick things off Chicago and Vegas. Let's do it and see how game 1 goes here. Of course, in real life, with this series, you had the Vegas Golden Knights take game 1 by the score of 4-1. So we'll see what happens this time out. Chicago strikes first. Jonathan Taves. We're tied at 2. Carrier and White Cloud. Kajula is able to tie it. And third period, the Vegas Golden Knights do in fact take game 1. So 2 goals for Jonathan Taves. McNabb ties it. Jonathan Marchessault scores the game winners. So a victory for the Vegas Golden Knights in game 1. Scoreline not quite reflecting real life, but Jonathan Taves off to a really good start. We move on to Calgary and Dallas. Of course, Calgary taking game 1 by the score of 3-2 in real life. I'm intrigued to see what they're able to do here, if that third line is going to be as effective. Now, Dallas scores the opening goal with Radulov. Riddick is in, so no Cam Talbot. So perhaps Ben Bishop's in as well for Dallas, and we get that confirmation. So again, the AI can change up the lines, but ultimately they can't change the personnel. We'll see how that affects things. Joe Pavelski restores the lead for Dallas with a power play goal, and in the third period, Dallas holds on to win it 3-1 The TSEI mark on the power play seals the deal. So, unlike in real life, Calgary drops that first game, and Ben Bishop was a big part of the reason as to why. So, unfortunately, I can't stop the AI from changing stuff. We move on to Montreal and Philadelphia. Of course, aforementioned crazy save for Carey Price, but Montreal losing Game 1 last night. And that is a hell of a start. Thomas Tatar starts off the scoring. JVR, Farabee, and JVR again. Tatar begins and bookends the first period. It's 3-2 Philadelphia. Second period is scoreless, and the third period is not. Kevin Hayes makes it 4-2, and Philly walks away with a win in Game 1. So 2 games accurate so far, 1 game not so much. See what happens here. Islanders and Caps. Again, an incredibly physical series. Really enjoyed Game 1. Tom Wilson, 9 penalty minutes in the first period was insane. First period, good start for Washington. Backstrom, who looks like he might be out already for perhaps the remainder of this series in real life, but for this sim he is in. Kuznetsov scored as well. As the Islanders battle back, John Carlson makes it 3-0, but Pelech and Nelson get them back into it, that being the Islanders, and the Islanders do come back to win it. It's Josh Bailey on the power play, and Devon Taves wins it. So, you know, video game reflecting real life there. The Islanders come back to win it 4-3. Damn good stuff there. As we'll see what happens in Arizona and Colorado in their series. Game 1 here, Colorado strikes first. Sam Girard. Second period, Colorado made 2-0 with Nieto. Dvorak is able to get him back on the board, or back within 1. Arizona forces overtime. Taylor Hall the goal. Will it end in overtime number 1? Yes, it will. Christian Dvorak on the power play. And the Arizona Coyotes reverse their fortune. Darcy Kemper, crucial game for him. And the Yotes take Game 1 as well. So we are down to just 3 games left. Here's our last first game in the Western Conference. It's Vancouver and St. Louis. First period, and a good start for the Blues. Perron and Falk. Besser scores against Jake Allen for the Canucks. Second period, goals aplenty again. Perron and Pietrangelo. Tyler Mott scored shorthanded. So 4-2 Blues. And that will be the final score. They hold on to win that. So the Blues also reversed their fortunes. Of course, the Canucks are winning Game 1 5-2. Very impressive from the Vancouver Canucks. Jake Allen, first star effort for the Blues now that he's in over one Jordan Bennington. We move over to the East. Columbus and Tampa. The first game of this series. Let's see how it goes. Scoreless first. Not so scoreless second. Palat and Gord. Boone Jenner able to get CBJ on the board. But it's not enough. That scoreline holds 2-1 final for the Tampa Bay Lightning in regulation, mind you. Great effort from Korpisalo, but a better effort from Andrei Vasilevsky. Tampa takes Game 1, and that brings us to, last but not least, Carolina and Boston. Of course, the Bruins taking Game 1 on a game that started at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what happens here. Carolina strikes first with Svechnikov, who tried the damn Michigan goal yesterday as well. Didn't get it, though. Second period, the Bruins tie it. Brad Marchand. And third goes to Carolina. Svechnikov and then Krejci, but Jordan Staal scores the winning goal with 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining in regulation. So Carolina reverses their fortunes. Strong effort from one Peter Mrazek. So the first game of each series is done. We move on. Game 2, Vegas and Chicago. Let's do this. First period, damn good start for the Blackhawks. Dylan Strome and Adam Boqvist. Second period, Chicago adds to it. David Kampf with the goal. And third period, Chicago with a great win. Jonathan Taves and Ryan Carpenter. William Karlsson ruins the Crawford shutout, but 5-1 is your final score. What an effort from Corey Crawford. And what a win there for the Chicago Blackhawks as they tie that series up at 1 apiece. We move on. It's Dallas and Calgary. Game 2, first period, and a good start for Dallas. Power play goals from Perry and Como. Lindholm, though, gets Calgary on the board. Second period, Calgary's on the board a whole lot more. Kachuk, Reeder, Goodrow, and Mangiapane. Third period, what an effort from Calgary. Radulov scores, but Giordano and Lucic. 7-3. Final score for the Calgary Flames. Great game for that top line, if it is indeed still Goodrow and Lindholm on that same top unit. So far, nothing but 1-1 splits. We'll see if Philadelphia is able to take a 2-0 series lead as Montreal gets off to a great start. Kokaniemi 1-0. JVR ties it, but from there, power play goal for Drouin, and Philip Deneau scores. Center ice goal there as well. We hold through the second period, third period, that's it. 3-1 final. 4 goals in the first, and they're the only goals of the game. Great effort from Carey Price, and indeed, the Montreal Canadiens tie this series up. So 3 1-1 splits to start things off. We go to Game 2, Islanders and Caps. 1-1 at the end of the first, Lee and Ovechkin. Scoring on Thomas Greiss, by the way. Not sure what happened to Varlamov. Second period, Washington. Great job there. 2 power play goals from Dmitry Orlov. And in the third, Washington takes over. Nicholas Backstrom makes it 4-1. And it is the Capitals tying this series up at 1 game apiece. Shocker. Will we see our first 2-0 split? We just might, if Arizona is able to win this game. First period in Arizona. Keller, Soderberg, Stepan. What a start for the Oats. Second period, it's now 3-1. JT Compher gets the Avs on the board, and in the third, it's not enough. Keller makes it 4. Kadri gets one back, but it's too little too late. And the Arizona Coyotes have the first 2-0 series split in this postseason run. St. Louis will look to replicate that success. See what they can do. First period is scoreless. Second period is not. The Canucks had the lead. It's Quinn Hughes. Third period, the Vancouver Canucks win it. Roussel gets the winning goal. He scores. Tyler Bozak gets the Blues on the board 10 seconds later, but it was too little, too late. So Vancouver, good stuff there. Great game from Markstrom. 33 out of 34 stopped. And the Vancouver Canucks have another 1-1 split. So just one solo 2-0 split in the West, as Tampa will make to look to make that at least 2 series with a 2-0 series lead split. We'll see what happens. And it might not happen. Atkinson, Nyquist, and Kukin. What a start for the Blue Jackets in Game 2. Tampa gets one back with Barclay Goodrow. That's first-round pick-worthy Barclay Goodrow. In the third period, the Blue Jackets add to it. Liam Foudy scores. And Columbus evens this series up at 1 apiece. What a game for Jonas Korpisalo. You want to tell me a 78 overall goalie can't be successful in a playoff sim in this game? I think not. That rating's deserved. You're welcome. We go to Carolina and Boston. Bruins could be in a little bit of trouble here. First period, great start for the Canes. Martinook, Stahl shorthanded, and Martinook again. Second period, the Hurricanes putting the boots to the Bruins. Power play goals from Gardner and Teravainen. 7-0. Your final score, Dzingel and Fogle add to it. As one-sided of an ass-kicking as you will see in the postseason. Carolina dominates Boston to earn just the second 2-0 split and the only one in the Eastern Conference. That brings us to Game 3, Vegas and Chicago. First period, Vegas has the lead. Ryan Reeves with the goal. Second period, Chicago ties it. Dominic Kubalik. And in the third, we're going to overtime. Carlson and Nylander both score. Who's going to win this third game? The answer is Chicago. Alex DeBrincat gets the winner. Corey Crawford, a phenomenal game. And the Chicago Blackhawks have the lead in that series. We move on to Dallas and Calgary. First period is scoreless. Second period is not. Matthew Tkachuk, the lone goal of the game so far. We go to the third, where Calgary explodes for offense. Jamie Benn ties it. Mangiapane gets the winner. Giordano the insurance. Lucic the empty netter. And it's a good game for Calgary, 4-1. Your final score. Great game for Big Save Dave. As we go back to the Eastern Conference, it's Philadelphia and Montreal. Let's see how this one goes. First period, good start for the Habs. Belzile. I'm going to go with Belzile, but I think it's Belzile. He's able to get the goal. Second period, Montreal exploding for offense here. Petrie, Drouin, and Kokaniemi. Giroux gets Philadelphia on the board, and that is an interesting turn of events. Jonathan Drouin on the power play makes it 5-1. 4 unanswered goals for the Flyers. Niskanen, Hayes, Provorov, and with 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining, Tyler Pitlick forces overtime. The winner of Game 3, the Philadelphia Flyers. Voracek on the power play ends it. A ridiculous comeback from the Flyers. From 5-1 down, they win it 6-5 in overtime. A back-breaking goal. A back-breaking blown lead, perhaps, for the Habs in this series. A 2-1 series lead slips out of their fingers. See what happens here. Caps and Islanders. Good start there for the Caps. Kovalchuk and Ovechkin on the power play. Bailey scores for the Islanders, as Nick Leddy does as well. We're tied at 2. Third period, the New York Islanders do it again. Anders Lee, with 7 seconds to go, wins it for the Blue and Orange. Solid game from Varlamov. Anders Lee, thorn in the side of the Caps in both video game and real life. Phenomenal stuff there. Jonathan Drouin, 6 points in 3 games, huh? Not bad. Arizona looking to take a commanding 3-0 series lead here against Colorado. First period, and they have a 2-0 lead here. Keller on a power play goal for Taylor Hall. Second period, the Arizona Coyotes are running Colorado's show. Krause, Stepan, and Hall. Third period, Colorado puts up a fight, but it's too little too late with power play goals from McKinnon, or a power play goal from McKinnon, and goals from Calvert and Ryan Graves. The Arizona Coyotes 1 win away from the second round as Hall, Stepan, and Keller led the way. We go to the last series here in the West, St. Louis and Vancouver. Let's see what we have. First period is scoreless. Second period, St. Louis shows up. Perron, Bozak, Shorty for Falk, and Schwartz. And in the third, Vancouver battles back with goals from Miller and Hughes, but it's too little too late. And the St. Louis Blues take Game 3 off the back of a very strong second period. That brings us back over to the East. It's Tampa and Columbus on a 1-1 split. First period is scoreless. Second period is not. Anthony Cirelli, the lone goal of the game. And in the third, Tampa adds to it. Power play, empty netter for Ryan McDonough. A 2-0 shutout victory for Tampa Bay, and Andrei Vasilevsky, 28 saves. Korpisalo was great, but it just wasn't enough. The offense not able to get that team over the hump. And we talked about Colorado being in trouble. Boston now in trouble. A 2-0 deficit here against Carolina. Let's see what they can do. First period, good start for the Bruins. 2 goals for Brad Marchand. Second period, goal apiece, Kasha, and a power play goal for Svechnikov. And in the third, the Bruins seal the deal. Anders Bjork with the goal, and the Bruins are back in the series. 34 saves for Tuukka Rask. Good stuff there for the Bruins to get back into it, as that sets the stage for the fourth game of every series. We start off with Vegas and Chicago. First period, and Vegas scores Reeves and Cousins. Second period, Vegas adds another one with Shea Theodore. And in the third, it's a goal apiece. Calvin DeHaan ruins the shutout. Nick Waugh makes it 4-1. Final score there to the Vegas Golden Knights. Robin Leonard, great game. Ryan Reeves with a great game as well. So Vegas is able to tie that series up at 2 apiece. We'll see if Dallas is able to do the same here against Calgary. See what the Flames can do. First period, Dallas strikes first. Power play goal for Janmark. Second period, Dallas adds another power play tally with Radulov. Guryanov makes it 3-0. Shorthanded goal for Jankowski has the Flames on the board, but it's not enough to spark a comeback. Como and Ben in the third. Dallas wins 5-1 as they tie this series up at 2 games apiece. So, great job there by Dallas. Philadelphia, a 2-1 series lead on Montreal. See what they can do. First period, 1-1 split. Lawton on the power play and Jonathan Drouin. Second period, Montreal grabs the lead. Thomas Tatar. And in the third, the Habs hold on, but barely. Mete and Weber, who gets the winner. Konechny scored, as did Couturier, but it was too little too late. And the Habs win 4-3 to get back into that series against the Flyers. It brings us to the other Eastern Conference matchup. It's Washington and New York. New York, a 2-1 split. First period, and a great start for the Caps. Carlson, Dillon, and Kuznetsov. Second period, Washington adds another with Kovalchuk, but 2 goals from Derek Brassard, including one on the power play, has the Islanders back in it, but it's not enough to catapult them to a victory or to even tie the game. Anthony Beauvillier, the lone goal of the third, not enough to get it done. Great game from Thomas Greiss, and the Capitals, though, despite that, tied the series up at 2 apiece. The Arizona Coyotes, looking to end this series and knock out a cup favorite. Can they do it? First period, 2 goals apiece. Makar and Landeskog, Hall on the power play, and Connor Garland for the Oats. Second period, Colorado grabs the lead. Nathan MacKinnon And in the third, the Colorado Avalanche add a few more. Nemesnikov and Comfort, Dvorak a power play goal. Too little too late. Colorado wins 5-3, and they will live to see another day. They extend this series. Good stuff there from the Avs. St. Louis now up 2-1 on the Canucks. Let's see how this one goes. First period, good start for the Blues. Braden Shen, the lone goal. Second period, there were just 3 shots there for the Canucks, but guess what? Second period, they were better. Power play goal from Pearson. It's 1-1, and in the third, nobody scores. We go to overtime here. Who's it going to be? Place your bets. It's not going to be that burp, but it is going to be the Canucks. Jake Virtanen, 47 seconds in, wins it for the Couv. Markstrom, 35 saves. And the Vancouver Canucks tie the series up at 2 apiece. We move over to the last 2 Eastern Conference series. Tampa up 2-1 on the Blue Jackets. Looking to get revenge from last year. Let's see what they can do. First period, Tampa with goals from Maroon and Paquette have a 2-0 lead. Second period, that was despite only having 4 shots, by the way. Columbus gets one in the second. Power play goal from Bjorkstrand in the third. Both teams score, so Kucherov's goal holds up as the winner. Atkinson's power play tally was not enough to catapult the team back into it. Strong game from Vasilevsky. And Tampa now has a commanding 3-1 series lead, which is what the Carolina Hurricanes will look to get as well. And they will do so if they win here in Game 4. First period, goal apiece, Ryan Dzingel, and again another goal for Brad Marchand. He's on fire. Power play marker there. Second period, multiple goals. Svechnikov makes the 2-1. Krug ties it. Marchand scores again. It's 3-2. And in the third, the Bruins add 2 more. Charlie McAvoy and an empty netter for Torrey Krug, his second goal of the game. And the Bruins win this one as well. Rask back in fine form. Great efforts from Krug and Marchand. And the Bruins have tied that series up at 2 apiece. So, you know, we have 2 3-1 splits. The rest of the series at 2-2, including this one. Let's get this week going. You know, this set of games. It's Game 5. It's Vegas and Chicago. First period, and a good start there. Saad and Stone. Second period, and Chicago explodes. Calvin DeHaan, Brandon Saad, and Dominic Kubalik. Third period, that does it. Chicago. What an effort there off the back of a tremendous second period. Brandon Saad and Jonathan Taves, have yourself a day. And the Chicago Blackhawks have a 3-2 series lead on the Vegas Golden Knights. Brings us to a crucial Game 5 here. Calgary and Dallas. First period, 2 goals apiece. Anderson and Goudreau on the power play. Radulov and Sagan on the power play. Second period, Calgary snatches the lead. Matthew Tkachuk. And in the third, Dallas ties it. Tyler Sagan scores again. So in overtime, the team that is going to take it is the Dallas Stars. Miro Heiskanen wins it for the black and green. Tyler Sagan, one hell of a performance. And indeed, now Dallas with a chance to end the series coming up. And we're going to see if Montreal can continue to push to do the near impossible. First period, goal apiece, Giroux and Deneau. Second period, Montreal has the lead. Power play tally from Armia. Third period, Philly's able to tie it. Lawton. Lehkonen restores the lead on the power play. Kevin Hayes sends it to overtime. And we'll see what happens here. Who's going to win it? The answer is Philadelphia. Travis Sanheim, 55 shots to 28. The rightful winner, the Flyers, have a 3-2 series lead now over the Habs. That brings us to the final Eastern Conference matchup here before we go back to the West, of course. It's the Islanders and Caps, 2-2 split. First period, good start for the Islanders. Anders Lee on the power play. Second period, 1 goal apiece. Travis Boyd ties it. Leddy strikes on the power play as well. And in the third, Washington explodes to win this crucial Game 5. Good Lord. So 2-1, 3-1 with Nelson on the power play, and an Oshie 3-2, Backstrom 3-3, Boyd 4-3, Bailey 4-4, Tom Wilson wins it. 5-4 in regulation, a 6-goal third period. And the Washington Capitals win a barn burner to take a 3-2 series lead. We go to Colorado. Game 5, looking to stave off elimination for a little bit longer. First period, good start for Arizona. Power play goal for Christian Dvorak. Second period, goal apiece, McKinnon, but Dvorak again. And in the third, the Avs stay alive. Jonas Donskoy ties it. Kessel gives Arizona the lead. Donskoy forces overtime. Is this going to do it for the Colorado Avalanche? Will the Arizona Coyotes end it here? The answer is yes. Connor Garland sends the Colorado Avalanche packing. The Arizona Coyotes are the first team to punch their ticket to the second round, eliminating the Avs in just 5 games. Call it a hunch. I don't think that's going to happen in real life after the Avs exploded in the third period to take game 1. But the Arizona Coyotes are moving on, as are we. It's Vancouver and St. Louis. First period, scoreless. Second period, not. 1 goal apiece, Justin Falk and Zach McEwen. And in the third, wow, ton of offense. Erickson and then Hughes, 3-1. But then Schwartz, O'Reilly ties it. De La Rose gives them the lead and gets the winning goal. And O'Reilly scores again. St. Louis wins 5-3. What a game for Ryan O'Reilly. And the Blues are now 1 win away from the second round. As are the Tampa Bay Lightning. They can punch their ticket right here, right now. First period, good start for the Lightning. Goodrow and Kucherov. Eric Robinson gets them back to within 1. Second period, goal apiece. Nyquist on the power play tied it. Kucherov scores again. Are the Lightning moving on? They might be, but not yet. Pierre-Luc Dubois finally shows up. We're tied at 3. Question is, though, will Tampa punch their ticket to the second round, much like Arizona did? The answer is going to be discovered in double overtime. The winner is the Tampa Bay Lightning, Alex Killorn. 1 minute and 5 seconds into the overtime. Wins the game and pushes the Lightning on to the second round. They eliminate Columbus in 5. The question now, who's going to have the 3-2 series lead between Carolina and Boston? The home team yet to win. Let's see what happens. First period, good start for Carolina. Natchez and Dzingel on the power play. Second period, the Bruins back in it. Marchand and Krejci, but Svechnikov has the difference maker right now. Third period, and the Hurricanes take a 3-2 series lead. Bjork scores. Aho with the game-winning goal on the power play. Brady Shea seals the deal. The Bruins are in trouble as the home team has yet to win in that series. Brad Marchand's heroics, not enough so far. As we move on, Chicago can eliminate the Vegas Golden Knights right here, right now. But will they? First period. Oh my goodness, Chicago's going to round 2. Kajula, Saad, DeBrincat, and Kajula again. Pacioretty makes it 4-1. Taves makes it 5-1. Second period is scoreless. Third period is not. 5-2, 6-2, 7-2. Carpenter and Murphy seal the deal. The Chicago Blackhawks eliminate the Vegas Golden Knights in 6 games and move on to the second round. Dallas looking to bounce Calgary here. Can they do it? First period, great start for the Flames. Tkachuk and Giordano. Second period, 2 goals apiece. Jankowski and Monahan make it 4-0, but Ben and Perry have the Stars back in it. That's too little too late. Calgary's offense doesn't slow down. Reeder, Dubé, and Giordano. Mark scores again. Short-handed, no less, but 7-3 is your final score for the Calgary Flames. 4-point game for Tobias Reeder and the Flames. Force Game 7. We'll see if Montreal can do the same here or if Philly will be moving on. Here we go. First period is scoreless. Second period is not. Nate Thompson and Kevin Hayes. Third period, Montreal ties it. Kotkaniemi and Philip Deneau on the power play. 34 shots at 22. Can the Habs stay alive? The answer is yes, they can. Arturi Lehkonen wins it for Montreal to force Game 7 against the Philadelphia Flyers. Unbelievable turn of events there. And now we go here. Washington looking to move on. Can they do it? First period, the Islanders strike first. Adam Pelech. Second period, the Caps tie it. Tom Wilson Third period, we're going to overtime. Goal apiece for Rana, and Beauvillier keeps the Islanders' season alive. So it comes down to this. Here we go. Overtime. Are Washington moving on? No, they are not. Derek Brassard forces Game 7 for the Islanders. What an effort from Semyon Varlamov. And we have another Game 7 on deck. So far in the East, 2 Game 7s coming up. We'll see right here, though, if Vancouver can force Game 7 against the St. Louis Blues. There we go. First period, the Blues strike first, Tarasenko. Second period, the Blues, it's a goal apiece. Roussel ties it. O'Reilly gives the Blues the lead. Third period, Vancouver ties it to force overtime. It's Jake Virtanen. Will the Canucks stay alive? The answer is gonna be found out in double overtime. The answer is no, as Robert Thomas ends the Canucks season. What an effort from Jake Allen. And the Canucks fall in 6 to the defending champs, and that brings us to this. Can the Bruins force Game 7, or will the Hurricanes move on to round 2 and get revenge for last year's loss in the Eastern Conference Final? First period is scoreless. Second period is not. Slavin and Martinook. The Bruins in trouble. The Bruins eliminated. Andrei Svechnikov, the empty netter, a 3-0 shutout. The Jerks are moving on. Off the back of 34 stops from Peter Mrazek, the Bruins bounced in round 1 in 6 games to the Hurricanes. So far we know Carolina and Tampa moving on. Arizona and Chicago. St. Louis's ball moving on. So our first of 3 Game 7s here, the only one in the West. It's Calgary and Dallas. Let's see how this goes. First period, Dallas strikes first, Joe Pavelski. Second period, scoreless, 24 shots to 15. Let's find out. Can the Calgary Flames fight back? They can. Tobias Reeder has this game evened up at 1 apiece. Dallas can't score on the power play. Halfway through the third now. And we'll see, the next goal could very well win this series. It's Mark Jankowski. Cogliano's able to tie it minutes later. Rupe Hintz. The Dallas Stars are going on to round 2. Oh man, Calgary choked it. Cogliano ties it. Rupe Hintz wins it. And the Dallas Stars move on in 7 games over the Calgary Flames. That brings us to the most intriguing matchup. It's Philadelphia and Montreal. Here we go. First period, good start for Philly. Lawton, Gallagher ties it. Hayes is on fire. He makes it 2-1. Second period, goal apiece. Provorov, Shorty, Armia scores. This is it. 3-2 lead for Philadelphia. Heading into the third, Jonathan Drouin, Philip Deneau. Montreal has a 4-3 lead. Drouin ties it. Deneau gives them the go-ahead. Philly on the power play again. They blow another man advantage opportunity. Can Montreal hold on? Can Carey Price shut the door? He can't. Claude Giroux ties it. Are we going to overtime? Yes, we are. Game 7, overtime. If this video wasn't already going to be long enough, I'd totally jump in to watch the AI play, but it's going to be way too damn long as it is. Here we go. And the Montreal Canadiens eliminate the Philadelphia Flyers in 7 games. Jeff Petrie, 51 seconds into the overtime, scores it. The Habs are moving on. Oh my god, and it comes down to this. The final game of round 1, Islanders and Caps. Let's see what happens. First period, great start for Washington, Boyd and Oshie. Second period, Washington up 3, it's Kovalchuk. Third period, the Washington Capitals unceremoniously dump the New York Islanders out of the playoffs. A 29-save shutout for Braden Holtby. And that concludes the first round. The stage is set for round 2. Arizona, Chicago, Dallas, and St. Louis. Tampa plays Montreal, and Washington will play Carolina. So what a start here to that first round, as we have two lower seeds win in the East as well as in the West. Couple of interesting Game 7s as well. Just to look at the playoff stats here. In terms of goals for per game, Chicago the top offense right now. Columbus the worst. No surprise necessarily that they were dumped the way they were. Highest goals against average, the Vegas Golden Knights. The lowest was Tampa. Obviously, again, no real surprise. Top power play right now, the Dallas Stars at 36%. Vegas did not score a single power play goal on 17 attempts. And in terms of the penalty kill, Chicago is a perfect 17 for 17. Calgary cannot stop a PK to save their lives. As we'll go over the stats here very quickly, of course, for those who care. We'll start off with Arizona. Get you a look at the forwards here. Of course, the Coyotes moving on. Great first round, at least offensively for OEL, but it really comes down to the goaltender. I was going to say it's only a 9-1-1 there for Kemper. Boston, Brad Marchand showed up. Secondary scoring struggle. Jake DeBrusk, just 1 point. No real defensive contribution there. And the goaltending, flat out, was off the mark. For Calgary, Kachuk, Reeder, and Goodrow, all pretty solid, but that Lucic, Dubé, Bennett line didn't show up like they have, in real life so far. And Big Save Dave was anything but, as Calgary was bounced. Carolina, what a start there for Teuvo Teravainen. Defensively, Slavin Gardner contributing positively. And Peter Mrazek was solid at a 9.28. Chicago, Jonathan Toews, Saad, and Kubalik. What a line. What a line. Oilers fans, avert your eyes. Connor Murphy with 4 points in 6 games. Corey Crawford, unlike in real life where he was horrible against Edmonton for the most part. At least the save percentage was down. Corey Crawford shows up there. Colorado, very disappointing for them. Very, very disappointing for the Avalanche. Defensively, Cale Makar was solid, but it just wasn't enough. Fortunately, Philip Grubauer, they probably should have gone with Francois, call him what you will. Grubauer couldn't get the job done. Columbus, just didn't happen against Tampa. Great job there by Tessier. But just didn't happen. No points for Nathan Kirby. Nothing from Seth Jones. Korpisalo was incredible, but they failed. Tell me these rosters are unrealistic. The Dallas Stars, of course, beating Calgary. Pretty strong numbers there for some of the big forwards defensively. Some contribution. Ben Bishop was horrible, but Dallas survives. They really shouldn't have been a series, but Ben Bishop was awful. Shows how good the offense was, I suppose. Montreal, had Calgary gotten any goaltending whatsoever, they would have won. Armia and Drouin are playing out of their skulls to get Montreal to round 2. Really no defensive contributions aside from Jeff Petrie. Carey Price only a 9.08. Montreal kind of lucks in the beating the Philadelphia Flyers. One hot line carried the team. Beauvillier does very well for the Islanders as they, of course, fall short against the Washington Capitals. Move on to the Philadelphia Flyers here. Konechny 8 points leading the way. Lawton and Hayes were on point, but just didn't happen. Voracek wasn't very good. And you look at the goaltending, Carter Hart didn't have it. At least in the sim, Carter Hart didn't have it. St. Louis, Ryan O'Reilly leading the way for the defending champs who are moving on. Solid first round for Justin Falk. Bennington was awful when he played, but he won. Jake Allen was fantastic. Tampa, Kucherov getting it done. Some low secondary scoring. Tyler Johnson, the only forward without a point. And goaltending-wise, Vasilevsky was on point. Macklin, even though he got charged with a loss, was amazing. Stepping in relief. Vancouver, Virtanen led the way. Pettersson held to just 1 point. Defensively, not that many contributions, and goaltending-wise, it was okay. But not enough for the Canucks to move on. Brings us to Vegas. Carlson, Stone doing all right for them, but again, they fall to the Chicago Blackhawks. as goaltending simply did not show up there. And then Washington, Kovalchuk, leading the way. Some lack of secondary scoring in some spots. Hoping with a 9-19. Caps, of course, moving on. They'll play Carolina. As we get this second round started, it's Chicago and Arizona. Let's do it. First period. Coyotes start off strong. Jason Demers. Scoreless second. Chicago ties it in the third on the power play. Dylan Strome. The winner in overtime. Your Arizona Coyotes. Derek Stepan. Gets the win. And the Coyotes continue this incredibly strong start here to this postseason. Good stuff. St. Louis and Dallas next. See what we have. First period, good start for Dallas. Jamie Benn. Second period, Dallas adds to it with Radulov. And in the third, Dallas adds two more. Sagan and Ben. Samford breaks the shutout. But it's too little too late. Good start for Dallas here. They're looking to get revenge for a loss last year to the Blues. Of course, the Blues went on to win the Cup. Thanks a lot, Dallas. Montreal and Tampa. Let's see what happens. First period, good start for the Lightning. Gord and Kucherov. Second period, couple of goals for Montreal. Byron and Gallagher on the power play, but Chernak breaks the tie. And in the third, Montreal wins it. 2 goals for Nick Suzuki. And the Montreal Canadiens take game 1 from Tampa. They come back at the end to finally lead in that game. We go to game 1, Carolina and Washington. First period here, good start for the Canes, Ryan Dzingel. Second period, Caps tie it, Alex Ovechkin on the power play. And in the third, 2 goals apiece. 2 power play goals for Ovi. Trocheck and Dzingel tie it. In overtime, Carolina wins it. Jordan Martinook wins it for the Canes in overtime. Ovi's hat trick is wasted as the Hurricanes move on to the next round. Good stuff there. We'll see what happens. We got alarms going off in the background. You never really know what's going to happen. You never really know. But we're trudging on, damn it. We are trudging and doing things. We have Chicago and Arizona, the first game of their series. And we'll see what happens in said game here. Let's do it. We'll see how this series starts off. First period, goal apiece, Doc and Krause. Power play tally there for Kirby Doc. Second period, Arizona is unbelievable. Keller and Kessel. And in the third, Arizona adds another. Connor Garland. The Arizona Coyotes are a wagon in this game. For whatever reason, they have a 2-0 series lead on the Hawks. We go to St. Louis and Dallas. See how it goes here. First period, good start for the Stars with Rupe Hintz scoring. Second period, Ben and Klingberg with power play goals. O'Reilly makes it 3-1. And it kicks off the Blues comeback power play goals from O'Reilly and Schwartz. We go to overtime here in game 2, where St. Louis scores 4 unanswered goals to take game 1. The Stars choke. And the Blues tie the series at 1 apiece. It's Montreal and Tampa next. See what we got. First period, goal apiece, Drouin and Killorn. Second period, Tampa has the lead. Palat on the power play. Domi ties it. McDonough, go figure, gives Tampa the lead. And in the third, Tampa holds on. Armia ties it, but from there, Point, Goodrow, and Johnson. Tampa wins at 6-3. Braden Point gets the winner against Montreal. Great game there for Andre Palat. And the Lightning tied it up at 1 apiece. We go to Carolina and Washington. The Hurricanes with the lead. First period, good start there. Jake Gardner. Second period, scoreless. And in the third, goal apiece. Garnet Hathaway ties it. Sebastian Aho wins it with 1 minute and 16 seconds remaining. The Carolina Hurricanes have a 2-0 series lead on the Caps. And speaking of that, it's Arizona up 2-0 on Chicago. Let's do it. First period is scoreless. Second period is not. Connor Murphy scores against his former team, gives Chicago the lead, and they carry that all the way to a win. Kirby Dach gets the insurance, and the Blackhawks are back in this series off the back of a 35-save shutout for Corey Crawford. The other series here in the West, a 1-1 split after that ridiculous comeback from St. Louis in Game 2. First period, Dallas starts off strong again. Pavelski and Cogliano. Goal apiece there in the second. Pavelski made it 3-0. Sundqvist makes it 3-1 with a shorty. And in the third, Dallas holds on this time. A power play goal from Radulov, the only goal. And Dallas wins it 4-1 to take a 2-1 series lead. It's Montreal and Tampa next, a 1-1 split. Let's see how it goes. First period, great start for the Lightning. Armia strikes first, but from there, power play goal from Kucherov. Paquette and Johnson score. We go to the second period, which is scoreless, and in the third, it's a goal apiece. Kucherov and another goal for Armia. Too little, too late. Tampa wins it 4-2, and they take a 2-1 series lead. Carolina looking to take a commanding 3-0 lead over Washington. Can they do it? First period, good start there, Ryan Dzingel. Second period, Washington strikes back. Power play goal from Boyd. Another goal from Boyd. Tom Wilson scores as well. And in the third, Carolina gets one, but it's not enough. Dzingel's goal can't get them far enough. 3-2 your final score. Braden Holtby with 38 saves. And the Caps are back in it. So all four series right now with a 2-1 split. And we'll go with Game 4 here. Arizona and Chicago. Let's do it. First period. Chicago, great start. Kajula, Strome on the power play, and DeBrincat, Richardson the lone goal for the Yotes. Second period, goal apiece there, Jonathan Taves and Goligoski. And in the third, wow, more goals. Kubalik and DeBrincat, Kessel and Krause, too little too late. 6-4 final for the Blackhawks. Great game there from Jonathan Taves, a 3-point effort from the captain. And Chicago ties it up at 2 apiece. Dallas, we're going to take a 3-1 series lead here. Let's see what they can do. First period, goal apiece there. Janmark scores again, as does Robert Thomas. Second period, Dallas has the lead off the power play goal from Sagan. And in the third, Dallas takes control. Gurianov and Como, 4-1. Your final score, Ben Bishop. What a performance. And the Dallas Stars are 1 win away from revenge and getting to the conference final. And speaking of that, Tampa could find themselves in the same situation if they win in Game 4. It's a 2-1 lead right now. Let's see what they can do. First period, Tampa strikes. Victor Hedman. Second period, goal apiece. Power play goal from Petrie, but Johnson restores the lead. In the third, Tampa adds. Power play goal from Killorn, and Johnson seals the deal with the insurance. Belzile's goal, not enough. Tampa wins 4-2, and they take a 3-1 series lead. Things are looking good for the Lightning. And will they be looking equally as good here for the Hurricanes? Let's rock. First period, scoreless. Second period, scoreless. Third period, the Caps explode. Brendan Dillon wins it. Boyd and Ovi with the insurance. A 3-0 shutout victory. 37 saves for Braden Holtby. And the Washington Capitals tie that series up at 2 apiece. So 2-2 and 3-1 on both sides. It's Game 5, a decisive Game 5, Arizona and Chicago. First period, good start for the Oats. After Taves strikes first, Hinostroza and Hall give the Coyotes the lead. Second period, 2 more goals for the Coyotes. Power play from Stepan, and Hall scores with 1 second left. And in the third, Chicago fights, but it's too little too late. Doc and Kane, Garland, the insurance goal, 5-3, your final. And the Arizona Coyotes are 1 win away from the third round. We'll see what happens. Dallas looking to punch their ticket there against the defending champs. Here we go. First period, St. Louis scores, Braden Shen. Second period, Dallas ties it with the end mark on the power play. And in the third, the Dallas Stars punch their ticket to the conference final. Blake Como, the series clinching goal. Sagan with the insurance. Ben Bishop, 30 saves. And the Dallas Stars become the first team to reach the conference final, eliminating St. Louis in 5. Tampa will look to do the same here against Montreal. First period, scoreless. Second period, scoreless. And in the third, the Lightning eliminates the Miracle Habs. Patrick Maroon wins it. Coleman with the insurance. Lehkonen a power play goal to get him back into it, but Kucherov seals the deal, gets the nail in the coffin with an empty netter. And Carey Price and the Montreal Canadiens go home. So Dallas and Tampa in the conference final. Who will face Tampa is the question. Carolina or Washington? Crucial game 5 here. First period, Washington, good start. Kovalchuk and Brendan Dillon. Second period, my goodness, the goals. Svechnikov, Oshie, Boyd, Dzingel, Panik, and Niederreiter. At the end of it, it's 5-3 Washington. And in the third, we have more goals aplenty. Somehow, some way, Washington holds on to win 7-6. Your final score, the Caps, 1 win away from the conference final off the back of a ridiculous shootout against Carolina. Dallas awaits the winner of this series between Arizona and Chicago. Will it be the Coyotes? First period, Chicago strikes first, Patrick Kane. Second period, scoreless, and in the third, Chicago survives. Kane, Kampf, and Mata. What an effort there from Corey Crawford. 31 saves in the victory. The Hawks forced Game 7. The Hurricanes looking to do the same thing, while the conference final will be Tampa and Washington. First period, great start. I mean, in terms of offense, Niederreiter, Boyd, Dzingel, Kuznetsov, and Gardner, it's 3-2 Carolina. Second period, it's now 5-2 Carolina. McGinn and Svechnikov. And in the third, Washington fights, but it's too little too late. Power play goal from Ovi. Fogle seals the deal with an empty netter. The Hurricanes force Game 7 against the Caps. So 2 Game 7s here to decide who goes on to the conference final. It's Arizona and Chicago. Let's do it. Here we go. First period, Arizona starts off strong. Krause and Richardson. Second period, Arizona, Hall and Dvorak. And in the third, the Arizona Coyotes are going to the conference final. 22 saves from Darcy Kemper. Yotes and Stars in the Western Conference Final. Tampa will play the winner of this. It's Carolina and Washington. Here we go. First period, scoreless. Second period, not scoreless. Carlson and Wilson. In the third, Washington punches their ticket. They'll play Tampa. Niederreiter scores, but Backstrom nail in the coffin on the empty net power play goal. The Capitals knock out the Hurricanes and get revenge for last year's first round defeat. And it brings us to the Final Four. It's Dallas, Arizona, Washington, and Tampa. And an updated look at the stats here for the teams that have played a significant amount of games there. As you see the top 8, you see how the goal scoring and goals against has changed. Power play and penalty kill as well. For those that care to track it, Carolina's lack of penalty killing certainly seems to have cost them. And we move on to the rest of the league, the rest of the stats here. Arizona led by Stepan, Keller, Kessel, and Dvorak. Taylor Hall with 7 goals as well. Defensively, OEL still contributing. Darcy Kemper, the big story here. The big story, indeed. As we go to, not Calgary, but the Carolina Hurricanes sent packing Ryan Dzingel. Led the way, Sebastian Aho. Pretty quiet, I have to admit. Some good contribution from the defense, but Peter Mrazek just couldn't get the job done. Chicago also going home. Jonathan Taves, Saad, Kubalik, one hell of a line. But it just couldn't do enough. Lack of defensive contributions. Corey Crawford was amazing. Honestly, it's shocking as Chicago fell short. Of course, Colorado didn't make it to the second round, nor did Columbus. Dallas did, and they're going to the conference final. Sagan, Hintz, Radulov, Benn, Janmark really leading the way right now. Defensively, of course, Klingberg leading the way for points. Story here, Ben Bishop, not great, but apparently good enough. It's Montreal, Drouin, Armia, Gallagher leading the way. But again, not enough. Dale Weiss didn't have a single point. Habs fans are saying, yep, that's about right. Carey Price down to a .900 save percentage. You get the good Carey Price, you get the bad Carey Price. Unfortunately, you got the bad Carey Price. St. Louis, Ryan O'Reilly really leading the way. Lack of secondary scoring for them certainly affecting the defending champs as they have been bounced. Tampa, led by Nikita Kucherov, of course, doing very well without Steven Stamkos. Andrei Vasilevsky rocking a .930 save percentage. Of course, Vancouver didn't make it. Vegas didn't make it. Washington did, though. And they're going on to the conference final. Alex Ovechkin and Travis Boyd. Top two on the list defensively. Carlson looking all right. Of course, goaltending. Braden Holtby at a .913. Things are looking all right here for the Caps as we get ready to go to the conference final. And with that, let's get the craziness underway. Conference final, Arizona and Dallas. Here we go. Who's going to go to the Stanley Cup final from the West? I mean, I have to root for Arizona at this point. First period, good start for the Yotes, Kessel and Grabner. Sagan scores for Dallas. Second period, it's Taylor Hall for the Yotes. And in the third, they add another, Carl Soderberg. The Coyotes take game one by the score of 4-1. Darcy Kemper, what a game for him. We go to the East, it's Tampa and Washington. First period of game one, goal apiece, Kucherov and Backstrom on the power play. Second period, the goal apiece effort, Boyd and Kucherov. And in the third, the Caps hold on to win it. Kucherov on the power play gives Tampa the lead. Panik ties it. And who else? Ovi wins it on the man advantage. So Washington just 3 wins away from making it back to the Cup final. Game 2, Arizona and Dallas. The miracle run continues. First period, good start for the Yotes, Taylor Hall. Second period, 2 goals, or not 2 goals apiece, but a couple of goals there. Pavelski and Sagan tie it. Pavelski ties it. Sagan gives it the lead. Hall ties it. And in the third, Arizona wins it again. Phil Kessel. The Yotes have a 2-0 series lead and are 1 win away. 1 win away, 2 wins away. Might as well be 1 win away. This is insane. The Yotes are 2 away from the Stanley Cup final. Washington and Tampa. Caps up 1-0. First period, scoreless. Second period, not scoreless. Goal apiece, Kempny and Kucherov. And in the third, the Caps take it. Ovi wins it again. Hathaway, the empty net insurance goal. Washington up 2-0. Are we destined for a Caps-Yotes final? It's Game 3, Dallas in a must-win situation. First period, good start for the Yotes. Ben started the scoring on the power play. Hall and Dvorak able to strike. Second period, my goodness, we have a shootout here. It's Hall, but then Perry, Como, Kessel restores the lead. Kessel restores the lead for the Yotes. Third period, Dallas ties it. Tyler Sagan. Who's going to win it in overtime? Will the Yotes take that 3-0 series lead? The answer is potentially no. They kill off that penalty. Another power play here for Dallas. That has to be it, and it is, because Carl Soderberg just scored for the Coyotes. And here we are with the Arizona Coyotes 1 win away from the Stanley Cup final. They're up 3-0 on Dallas. Washington will look to do the same to Tampa. First period, scoreless. Second period, goal apiece, Hagelin and Kaloran. No Holtby. And in the third, scoreless. Overtime. Will Washington take a 3-0 series lead. The answer is, drum roll please, power play for the Caps. The answer is no. Shorthanded goal for Patrick Maroon gets the Lightning back into this series. So a huge goal there for the Big Rig. So 2-1 split now for the Caps, but here are the Coyotes looking to seal the deal. First period, goal apiece, Hall and Ben. Second period, scoreless, and in the third, the Coyotes punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup final. Heiskanen scores, Hinostroza ties it, and wins it. The Coyotes sweep the Dallas Stars and have punched their ticket to the Stanley Cup final. Tampa looks to tie their series here against Washington. First period, 2 goals for Tampa, Bogosian and Killorn. Second period, Washington ties it, 2 goals on the power play from Vrana. And in the third, the Caps take it. Wilson on the power play, Palat ties it, Backstrom gets the win. The Caps 1 game away from a date with destiny against the Arizona Coyotes. Can they seal the deal right here, right now? First period, 2 goals apiece, Maroon, Kucherov, Ovechkin, Kuznetsov. Second period, Washington and Tampa tied at 3. It's Boyd and Killorn. Third period, the Washington Capitals are going to the Stanley Cup final. Kuznetsov and 2 goals for Ovi. Yotes and Caps in the Cup final. Tampa runs out of steam. And after all of this, chat, it's not a Twitch stream. That shows how crazy far we are into this, that I'm just delirious. After all of this, you beautiful people, it's come down to this. It's come to this. Tampa and Dallas pushed aside. Arizona and Washington go head-to-head with the Stanley Cup on the line. As insane as that is, we get a look at this Arizona team led by Kessel and Hall now at this point. Defensively, of course, OEL. Great effort from him. And the key, a .921 save percentage from Darcy Kemper. They, of course, dispatched of Dallas. Sagan, Ben, Radulov, Hintz, all strong. Jason Dickinson was awful. End of the day, comes down to Ben Bishop not exactly being where he needed to be. And over in the East, we look at Tampa, led by Kucherov, Point, Killorn, but probably, more than likely, the lack of Steven Stamkos hurting them. And at the end of the day, Vasilevsky was strong, but he was not strong enough, and that brings us to Washington. Holtby rocking a .918. John Carlson doing John Carlson things. Alex Ovechkin is a cheat code and is damn well determined to win a second Stanley Cup and pull to within 1 of Sidney Crosby's totals. You look at the overalls again. Fairly even. Fairly even. Let's see what happens. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup final. Here we go. First period, 2 goals for Washington, Kempny and Ovechkin. Second period, goal apiece, Hall, and then Jonas Siegenthaler, his first of the postseason. And in the third, Washington holds on. The Caps take game 1 by the score of 3-1. Ovechkin, Holtby, and Kempny leading the way. 1 down, 3 to go for Washington. Game 2. Still in Washington, technically, I guess. I don't even know. Are they playing in Toronto or Edmonton for the Cup final? Probably Toronto, let's be honest. First period, scoreless. Second period, scoreless. Third period, not scoreless. Phil Kessel gets the winner. 27 save shutout for Darcy Kemper. And the Yotes have evened this one up at 1 apiece. We go to game 3. First period, Arizona with the lead. Hall and Krause, Panik scoring for the Caps. Second period, a lot of goals there, but at the end of the day, Arizona up 4-3. It was Vrana, Kovalchuk, and then power play goals from Hall and Kessel. And in the third period, the Coyotes hold on. 2 straight wins, 4-3 final in this one. The Arizona Coyotes are 2 wins away from winning the Stanley Cup and denying Alex Ovechkin, who might win the Conn Smythe anyway. First period of Game 4, the Yotes with the lead, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Second period, scoreless. Third period, the Arizona Coyotes are 1 win away from the Stanley Cup. Darcy Kemper, 33 save shutout. It's a 3-1 lead for the Yotes. Is this it? Have the Desert Dogs brought the cup to the desert? Washington starts off this game on a hot note for Vrana with 2 goals. Second period, now 5-1. Cup in the building, but it won't be awarded. Hall, but then Kovalchuk, Ovi, and Oshie. And in the third, the score holds. 5-1 final. Washington lives to see another day. Oshie, Vrana, Holtby with strong efforts. It's Game 6. Back on home ice for the Yotes. Can they do it? First period, good start for the Caps, Ovechkin and Orlov. Second period holds. Third period, we're going to Game 7. Goligoski's power play tally's not enough. Holtby, Ovechkin, and Orlov lead the way. And now here we are. It all comes down to this. It all comes down to this. Game 7. Yotes and Caps for the Stanley Cup. First period, good start for Washington. It's Boyd. Second period, we're tied at 2. Ovechkin on the power play, but from there, Grabner and Keller tie it. And it all comes down to this here, final 20 minutes of our regulation for this season. Stepan scores on the power play. 3-2 Arizona. Are the Yotes gonna do it? Can they hold on? 4.5, 3.5, 2.5, 1:45 to go. Are the Arizona Coyotes about to win the Stanley Cup? Game 7, Cup final. It comes down to this. Can the Caps tie it? Or will the Coyotes of all teams win this simulation almost inexplicably? Here we go. 1:49. Big face-off win here for the Yotes. OEL for Goligoski. Back to Ekman-Larsson. Dishes in front. Jensen's there to pick it away. As Panik sends it down. The Yotes on the power play for another 30 seconds. Here's OEL. Finds Goligoski. He'll look to lead the breakout. Here's Phil Kessel. Looking for a third Stanley Cup. It's Phil Kessel. Takes the hit in front. Big save by Holtby. That was Taylor Hall on the doorstep. Here's Boyd. Has a goal in this game. Steps by his man for a moment. Good contact from OEL. 12 seconds to go on the man advantage. Kessel tries to drop back for some reason. Goligoski wins it back. Kessel. Bank pass off the boards. Keller dishes back to the point. Hall. OEL. Finds Kessel. Kessel to Goligoski. Doesn't shoot for some reason. So we hit the final minute. Can the Caps tie it? Turnover here. Keller feeds it right to Jensen. Now here's Garnet Hathaway. Caps need to get a line change out, but Richard Panik has it. Tried to go back to Hathaway, who couldn't hold it. Taylor Hall now through the neutral zone for the Coyotes. 45 seconds to go. Hall wraps back. Looking, finds Keller. Now Jason Demers. Looking, gets by Ovechkin. Demers down low, just trying to hold it by himself. Finds its way to Richard Panik. 30 seconds to go. Capitals pull the goalie. Panik turns it over. Kempney recovers, though. John Carlson. Wilson. Kovalchuk to Carlson. Here's Panik. Big save by Kemper. Now under 20 remaining. Ekman-Larsson nearly turns it over. Wilson's going to fight for it. Keller finds Stepan. Derek Stepan 10 seconds left. Stepan shoots it around. The Arizona Coyotes are going to win the 2020 Stanley Cup. You heard it here first. The Arizona Coyotes, of all teams, win this simulation, defeating the Washington Capitals in 7 games. Absolutely unbelievable. I want to see if somehow, some way, Ovi still gets the Conn Smythe, because he should. The Coyotes just won it all. That's insane, man. Upset after upset after upset. Okay, maybe not Chicago as an upset, but kind of. The Arizona Coyotes have won the Stanley Cup, beating Washington in 7, as insane as that is. Garnet Hathaway in the handshake line. Nick Dowd. We'll, of course, get a look at the final stats, but the picture to remember, Taylor Hall is going to be awarded the Conn Smythe, perhaps controversially. He did have 31 points, including 16 goals. Good Lord. Well, his free agent value is way back up now. But there you have it. The Arizona Coyotes, Stanley Cup champions, according to the 2020 sim. Now, I don't know if EA have redone their simulation, considering they predicted. I don't even know how you would have predicted, like, oh, well, Edmonton's going to beat Pittsburgh, when in the game, you don't have a play-in round. So how could you have possibly simmed the play-in round? I guess you just go into playoff mode and you set those up and then you sim them and say, okay, well, the 16 teams are going to be these teams. But then how do you factor in the round robin? So EA's sim was freaking just broken from the start as OEL raises the cup in almost complete silence. But just a completely scuffed sim from the start. We do things legit as Carl Soderberg raises the cup. And as legit can be, the Arizona Coyotes, I still don't know how I feel about their uniform, man. With the weird black arm, black shoulders for no reason, biceps. It's a weird jersey. I like it, but it's really weird. I wouldn't want to own one. Phil Kessel now 3-time Stanley Cup champion. That's a lot of hot dogs you can fit in the cup 3 times over. Phil Kessel skates it around Ovechkin's turf. Unreal. Almost unfathomable. Phil Kessel does it. The Coyotes do it. And I know things didn't go too well for them against Colorado in Game 1. They fell apart. But who's to say that the Coyotes couldn't pull off a miracle? 2020 is silly season after all. Oliver Ekman-Larsson and the Arizona Coyotes celebrate with the cup. A win is a win is a win. And the Coyotes do it. They are your Stanley Cup champions, 3-2. The final score. From there, what can you really say aside from looking at some final stats? But it's been decided. The Coyotes win it. And it does let me look at the stats, thankfully. We'll see what we have here, at least for player stats. Again, I'm telling you, Ovi was robbed. You should be able to have somebody, J.S. Jaguar, and win it from the other team. Alex Ovechkin should have won the Conn Smythe. But it is what it is. The Coyotes, led by Kessel and Taylor Hall, with 17 goals. Can you imagine if they wake up? OEL doing great, and Darcy Kemper at a .923, as was Braden Holtby. But Kemper, able to win the duel. The Arizona Coyotes, winning the Stanley Cup in 2020. Bank on it.